What's up? This is Sleepy with the No Saba podcast, and I'm here with
Iberis.
And Wakey.
And
Wakey. I like it. Man, I'm kind of excited and nervous to talk about what we're going to talk about today.
Why?
Because, I don't know, it's some crazy shit, I think.
Yeah, we got a couple of topics in mind.
Yeah.
The last episode, that's where we ended, and I was like, we got to talk about why women choose the bear, right? That was the last one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Explain that concept again, because I don't remember.
So the concept is more so like, it's, I mean, if you were in the woods and there was two paths, and then a bear was on one and a man, like a stranger, was on the other, like which one would you choose? And this isn't for all women and this isn't for all men, but the majority of women would choose the bear because it's predictable. Like, yes, the bear is dangerous, but if it attacks, it's going to attack because of instinct or, because it's an animal or whatever.
Yeah.
But a man, you could say that they're more dangerous because it's unpredictable, right? And a lot of women have had encounters with men where like they're either sexually abused or beaten or whatever. And so that's where the whole like conversation kind of started, of like, why would women choose the bear? That's me. Sorry. Why would women choose the bear over a man or whatever?
Yeah.
So does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I even asked ChatGPT just to be like, what is this conversation, And it pretty much said, it's rooted in a dark truth about women's lived experiences with violence and fear. And then it says, here's a deeper meaning. The bear is dangerous, but predictable,
Yeah.
It's an act on instinct. If it attacks, it's not personal, it's survival. A man, however, might be more dangerous because he can be unpredictable and intentionally cruel. Women are more likely to experience violence, especially sexual violence, at the hands of men than from wild animals. And of course, this is not all men, but a comment on systemic fear and lived experiences. And it's become a symbol of how unsafe women can feel around unfamiliar men, even in comparison to deadly animals.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is crazy because I've even seen videos of, like, I don't know if you've seen them, like, where we're like, oh, what would you do if, like, men didn't exist or whatever? And women have said, like, oh, I could go on a run at night.
Yeah.
Which is wild to think because as of right now, like even as a dad of a daughter, like, do you feel like you have to be a little bit more overprotective of her than your sons? Like if your daughter would be like, oh, I'm just going to go to my friend's house down the street versus your son that he's like, I'm just going to go to my friend's house down the street. Like, it's very different the way that we think because of these experiences that have happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, would you choose a bear
Hell yeah.
over a stranger?
Yeah, dude.
Please comment down below if you would pick a bear over a stranger.
What about a bear over your husband?
What about, okay, well, if it's my husband, then my husband.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, you could even put yourself in that situation too, right? Let's say you're in the woods.
Yeah.
And you see a bear and then you see like some random guy.
Yeah.
Which path would you choose?
I think I would probably choose the bear.
I was going to say the same thing. I'll take my chances with the bear.
Oh, even y'all, huh?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, how many murderers, too, were, like, killing people in the woods, También, like, just...
Well, pause, though. I want to say that this is more like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I understand, this is more of a physical thing. Like, but, like, if you flip it on the female side, female are not very physical, but they're more, like, mentally manipulating. You know, like if they want, like you said, a man's going to physically hurt you, but I feel like a woman would, instead of physically, she would hurt you mentally. Or am I wrong?
I think you're wrong in assuming that men won't hurt you mentally either.
Yes.
Fuck you.
And I think a lot of that, you know, whether it's intentional or not, I just think it's the entire dynamics of men and women. I mean, I don't know if a lot of women intentionally mean to do what they do to you mentally. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I think with the physicality, I think that is intentional, right?
Do you think it's because we've been stripped from our like natural like survival instincts that this is what things like this happen?
What do you mean?
Like you like said, like basically what I want to say is because we're not or a fight or flight survival mode the whole time, we don't have anything better than do than to come up with like things like a man's gonna hurt a female instead of worrying about, damn, if I'm gonna survive tonight another day. You know what I mean? Do you see where I'm kind of going with it?
I think it's because men hurt females. Like when I think about when it comes to like the men that get physical with a female, right? Like that's a whole other level of like, best way to say it is like, you know, I get angry, right? Like the thought of I'm going to beat up my wife doesn't make, it doesn't like click in my brain. Like, why would you do that? And I think the men that, you know, like maybe I might word vomit and say stupid shit when I'm in my anger, but I think the man, and I won't even call him a man, but the male that chooses to get violent and start beating a woman, that to me is intentional, right? That to me is like there's not only just no control, but like how, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's the fact that men have done that and they do that. And it's not just physically beating someone up, but it's sexually assaulting someone.
And like you said something like, oh, you know, fight or flight, but that's how women live every day, all day, constantly. We're always on high alert. Like Michael always tells me, like, you need to be aware of your surroundings, you know? And it's like, why is that something that like has to be said to a woman all the time? You know, like there's a reason, because like, you know, women have been, you know, like kidnapped and taken advantage of and da, da, da. Like even here, dude, like I mean, I don't know if you've seen like on Facebook on the post, like in like the city life of IF or Blackfoot, whatever, but like there have been people that are like, oh, you watch out for people in the Walmart parking lot, or if you see something weird on your car, like don't address it, just get in your car and go, or like put your kids in the car first and lock the car while you're loading. You know, it's like things that like a guy doesn't think about.
Yeah.
You know, but like we have to always think about that stuff constantly.
I feel like maybe like, for example, you use that example of your husband telling you this. I think it's more like a second nature for a man to always like, and I know like it might trigger some people, but like to protect and provide.
Right.
You
But
know what I mean?
but that's what I'm saying. Like the reason behind why, like why do you have to constantly protect me? You know what I'm saying? Like I get it, I understand it, but it's like because there's factors outside of our relationship and other men, really, you know, and that's why he feels the need that he has to protect me at all times, right?
Yeah.
Like if it wasn't like that, he would still obviously protect me, but I don't think it would be like as much, you know. But like I saw a wild ass video over the weekend of a man hitting a little girl, like walked up to her. She was probably like, she must have been like 8 or something. And you can see he's talking to her and he just like with his whole body just wham against her face, and like her teeth fell out and stuff. Like what goes through a person's head? You know what I mean? To like do that to a little girl.
Yeah.
Like that's just crazy. And I also heard another thing too, like this other podcast where like it's this girl, like she's kind of like huge on TikTok about always shitting on men, you know? and she does always get a lot of shit about it, but she's like, you know, men are dangerous. Like, statistically speaking, men are dangerous. Like, why is it that, like, majority of the crimes are done or caused by men? Like, it's a high percentage. She said 99, but I didn't check her stats, so I don't want to say like that's the real statistic. But I think all three of us can agree that like the majority of crimes are done by men.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, even like when you get into those debates about crime rates, you know, with, you know, African Americans and whites and shooters and, you know, the black on black crime and even Hispanics, like, you know, it's a lot of men on men type crime, you know, and it's just, yeah. So I can totally see why people would pick a bear over, you know, a man, because you don't know. And I think it's that survival mode that's just like, I have a better chance over here, you know, because at least I know what to expect.
Unless you're
Versus,
short.
like-
Then you're
like,
like,
Unless
fuck
you're
it,
short.
I'll take my chances.
Yeah.
But you never know. Like,
Yeah.
I was actually talking to Juan yesterday about it because we were talking about jujitsu. Because I am thinking about like putting my kids in it, just more so for like getting out aspect, you know, being a little bit more social, and for the physical activity of it. But obviously, like, the self-defense is a huge plus, right? But there was also another story that came out. It happened somewhere in California. A little girl, she was 13, and a guy was trying to abduct her, and he didn't know that she was in jujitsu, and she like got him down and broke his ankles and like booked it, and so she was able to like escape or whatever. But like, bro,
Broke his ankles.
yeah, dude, snapped his shit and like booked it, and that's like, come on, man. Like, and that just happened.
Yeah, I think that's probably the thing that grosses me out the most is like, what's up with all these grown men and these little girls? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't.
Well, I was gonna say so. Okay, I know how like you guys like put the baby filter on one of those videos you guys did.
Yeah.
Well, I saw a video where they were saying that filter was made for pedophiles,
Wow.
and y'all are over here.
Fuck. Fake news.
Damn, that's weird.
Hey, you might think it's fake, but like, there's some creepy ass men out there. The amount of men that are being caught with child pornography is insane. Insane. And I'm always seeing it on East Idaho News. You know, they'll post your mugshot and shit. And like, I'm like, sick, dude.
I just saw a recent one where I knew the kid's older brother that was posted on there. And I'm just like, and I remember him just being little, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, how? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just, and it's so prevalent, you know, and I think that there's probably an aspect of, you know, our access to mobile phones and just the internet and everything else, where it's like, it's messing with people's brains. But also, I think just the lack of conversations about that shit when the kids are little, like,
Yeah.
you know, it's almost so taboo that like, if we don't talk about it, it's not going to happen. But like, just have those tough conversations with your kids and be like, hey, like, this ain't normal. This isn't, you know what I mean? Because I think some people, I don't know. And for me, like, it's just hard for me to like understand like how that's even,
Yeah.
like, it's, I don't know.
Well, like, we had I'm like that. I'm very, maybe you could say I am overprotective, you know. But I had one of my kids' friends' mom. She had been texting me a couple of times already and was like, "Hey, can they come over to play or whatever?" And like, usually I did have something going on, but overall I was just like, like, I don't want my kids going over to someone's house that I don't know, right? And on Friday, she texted me and she was like, "Hey, can Liam come over?" That's my youngest. And I was just like, but we weren't doing anything. They lived down the street. And so I asked him, I said, do you want to go? And he was like, yeah, I want to go. But he has, the little boy has an older brother that's the same age as my oldest too. So they're friends. And so I was like, okay, the only way that I feel comfortable letting you go to his house is if your brother also goes. So let me ask the mom if you both can go, because my oldest has a phone, So I'm just like, and right before they went, I had a conversation with both of them. I was like, okay, I'm letting you guys go, but you're only go for an hour, maybe 2. I'm like, but I need you, 1, obviously, to be respectful of other people's homes or whatever. Please and thank yous, this and that. And I said, and most importantly, I'm like, nobody touches you, nobody hugs you, nobody kisses you. I said, and you don't do that as well. And if something happens, you let the mom know right away and you call me right away. Right?
Yeah.
And they were like, okay. But it's like, you have to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Because you never know.
Yeah. And like, so like this last weekend, I coached soccer.
Mm-hmm.
I took 3 boys with me that weren't mine. You know, they got their own room with my oldest son, and you have conversations with their parents. And it's big.
Yeah.
Like I took one kid yesterday. I took 5 kids to Logan, Utah, which is 2 hours away, and we were gonna be late. But having that trust of the parents is great. You know what I mean?
It's huge.
But also like being able to
that responsibility, like, oh my goodness.
But being able to take care of them and just make sure like, hey, they're good here. But also like, like even with my son, my family, with my kids, like Jacoby's going to public school for the first time.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, it's heavy because like you want to be able to trust everybody. Like, one of the things on East Idaho News, that came out recently about a certain, baseball player, with a little kid. It's like, the family involved, and it's just like, damn, like you don't really know anymore. So to be able to just prep the kids to, for that stuff, because it's sad that you have to have those conversations, but if you don't have them, like you just never know. So I think it's cool that you have those conversations. We have those conversations. Like we're still not to the point where like overnighters are.
Oh yeah, that'll never happen.
I don't think we want to do overnighters. It's just, it doesn't make sense. And as much as we love everybody else, like even with us, like I don't, and it's not like I don't want somebody else's kid to sleep in the same room as me. That's why I'd rather have you have your own room. And it's not like, not in a weird way, but I want the kids to be comfortable. Like I feel much more comfortable knowing that they're across the hall with my son. You know what I mean? Or just themselves. Like we're talking about buying a 15 car passenger van, or you know what I mean, or person passenger van, and it's just like, yeah, that's probably going to include some travel, but it's just like you want them kids to have their own space, their own room, away from adults, and just be safe. You know what I mean? So it's just wild that we're, and maybe because we see it more, that we're more alert to it.
Yeah.
I don't know if Idaho's actually gonna do the death penalty for, pedophiles, but
hopefully
I think they do. I hope they do.
I hope so.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because like that's just not. It doesn't. I just, it's hard for me to grasp or understand.
I would say torture them a little bit and then kill them.
I like the firing squad idea. That sounds hardcore, but like
no. I'm like, córtenles, córtensela y mochenle la lengua.
Oh man.
Y los ojos.
And that just firing squad.
No, because they need to suffer. And then no.
Not to go full change of pace here, but speaking of córtensela, we were just talking about
vasectomies.
A vasectomy. Yeah. I think I'm gonna get one.
About
what the
time,
fuck, man?
dude.
That was a crazy transition.
Yeah.
That was the perfect transition.
Yeah. Well, the first, I mean, when I'm like, I'm gonna get neutered, right? Like they're gonna like how much of my pee are they gonna cut off here to make this happen? You know what I mean? Like,
damn.
Is it all the balls? Like
they cut the tip.
Yeah. Damn. You know what I mean? Like, how's it? I I was always nervous to do it. I didn't
It
want to do
is
it.
not that deep, dude.
Yeah, and
I was there.
Yeah.
I was there when
You
they
can't
did.
speak about it because it wasn't your sack. One thing is seeing and one thing is feeling it.
But the more I think about it though, like, and I step away from like my, I don't know, what would you call it, machismo? I don't know if it's machismo or maybe.
I would say like
but
the cultural thought behind it, maybe.
it's just scary, to be
I
honest.
think
with you.
it's just the concept of someone like opening your sack is scary, not probably even manhood or anything. Just scary.
Yeah, it don't scare me more now. But yeah,
Like
just
imagine
like
nicking one of those, the pain. Imagine someone cutting into it.
yeah.
It's not the same.
Well, for me, it's like as I look into it, it's just like, okay, what are the benefits here, right? Like, how could this help my wife, right?
Mm-hmm.
How could this like help just everything in general? Because like, yeah, I'm almost 40. Like, I don't want to. And it's not that I don't want. Like, I feel like blessed that if I could potentially have another baby, great. But it's just like at 40, like I don't know if I want another baby.
Right, starting all over again.
Yeah, and if I could help my wife get off, whatever birth control or whatever, and into her 40s, if she could like just, get hormonal balance or whatever it is, then it's
Just
just
all the
like,
health benefits of not being on breast control is
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. Why do y'all think that vasectomies are such a taboo thing for Hispanic males, or is it all males in general?
I think it's all males in
Yeah, I was
general.
gonna
Yeah.
say. Crazy thought over here. Just
Yeah.
throwing this out there. They sell preservatives for this instead of like cutting. You can just use a
What?
condom.
Oh my!
Oh no, bro!
It's just, I mean, I'm just throwing this out there, man. Like,
It ain't the same, and,
No,
and
it's not.
like, yeah, you want to just be ready when you're ready. You know what I mean?
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Also, like, yes, it wasn't my body, but I'm pretty sure that what I saw when they were doing it to him was not as invasive and traumatic as what I went through when I gave birth. You talk about like, oh, they open your sac. Motherfucker, they open my vagina like wide open, and the stitches a woman gets from having birth versus the stitches y'all get for vasectomy, nada.
I don't like talking about cuts and.
Not just that, but like if a woman were to go in and have her tubes tied or whatever procedure they do, because there are different ones, like they have to get put under because it's a full on surgery. Like they have to cut you open, like they cut you open and stuff, right? And a dude, you're in and out of there 20 minutes.
Yeah.
All they do, they give you a Valium like an hour before. You take it, and that's so that your body relaxes. Maybe you're still anxious, but your body relaxes. Your muscles relax, whatever. You get in there, depending on your doctor, but like our doctor, he was like, well, there are some, what are they called? What's their specialty called?
Urologist?
Urologist, yeah. So depending on your urologist.
Why you gotta do that? I'm gonna change my mind real quick here. The more this conversation happens.
But depending on him, he was like, some put you on stirrups, like how they do women, when we go for our checkups and stuff. But he's like, but you just lay flat. So like Michael was like laying flat on the bed or whatever, right? And he's still like from the top up, I'm pretty sure he was still clothed, And then from the bottom down, they put like this blue, like I don't know what they're called, like the sheets, Can
I make a confession? Yeah. I gotta pee so bad right now. So y'all keep this conversation going, and I'll be back in like 2
Ya le
minutes.
dio miedo.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to go too.
I'm
like,
gonna cry. But no, for real, I'll be back. Y'all keep going.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's not that bad.
it sounds pretty fucking bad if you ask
It's
me.
not bad.
Yeah, that.
No, okay, so he was like flat, and then they put like a sheet over, and your actual pee like is like they kind of like lay it flat and it's covered. It's nowhere near, the whole area. Lo único que sale, there's a hole. Y lo único que sale son las dos bolas. That's it, right? And then they numb you, and then you don't feel nothing.
Yeah, but what about when they numb you? That hurts.
It's just one little prick.
Yeah, but the problem is where the prick is at.
It's in your balls, duh.
Yeah, exactly.
But by that time, the volume has kicked in, so it's not as bad.
I don't want to even imagine.
Let me ask you this: Did your wife get an epidural?
Yeah, but it didn't end up working.
But she still got it though. Did you watch it? Did you watch the needle going in her spine? Okay, the needle that's gonna go in your balls is like tiny, dude.
Yes, I know. I get the whole concept of, but like it's just, I'm not gonna say I'm never gonna do it, but I don't know if I could because of like how like, like I get like even with my tonsils, I was freaking out when they put the needle in my wrist, and like yes, it doesn't hurt, like it's more mental, but just like the. Yeah, I just don't know. Like, I'm not good with surgeries or I'm not good with anything. I just like...
But why... I think that's the biggest thing for me when it comes to, like, males that are like, nah, I can't do it. Why is it that women can and we can get past the mental obstacles to overcome blah, 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 and have children and do all of the things that we need to do for our partners, but y'all can't do it?
I don't know.
Why is it so hard for you guys to just be like, you know what? Like, I applaud him for him being like, I'm doing this for me and I'm doing this for my wife. He's thinking about the benefits that are gonna help her as well. And like, you're like, no, I no puedo. I can't with surgeries, but like, how is it that your wife can go and get, her annual checkups and they spread you? They spread you open. They like stick shit in there, but you can't sacrifice yourself 20 minutes.
Like Elias said once when I was going to take out my tonsils, it's not meant to be taken out. Same thing. Your tubes are not supposed to be cut.
Y'all scared the pee-pee out of me, y'all.
Yeah. It's not that. Like, it's not that I wouldn't do it. Like, if I had to, I would. But, like, it's just like, I just can't imagine. I'm not going to sign myself up tomorrow. He has 4 kids. He's ready to close shop.
Yeah.
And then the age, too. Like, I get it, the age. Like, it's hard to have a kid at 40. But I ain't going to do it in my 20s. It's not going to happen. What if I want to have more kids?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying right now.
No, yeah. But I mean, like, maybe it'll change when I'm 40. But.
Well, like, Michael did it. Let's see. How old was he? He probably got it done 2-3 years ago.
But it's like saying, like, why didn't you get your tubes tied when you had your last kid? Because they can do it then.
No, only if you had a cesarean.
Oh.
If you had a cesarean, you're already open. They cut you up and your stomach is open or whatever. If you have normal vaginal births,
Can't do it.
You can't do it the same day. You have to come back like a week or 2 later, and it's an invasive procedure.
I think once you're done having kids as a male and you're done and you and your wife are done, you should just do it right away. And I wish I would have done it 5 years ago, but in my heart, I didn't know if I was for sure done. Like
That's hard, yeah.
I was still like trying to ask my wife, like even a year ago. I mean, a few months ago, like I think I want a 5th. Like
she's like, "Das pendejo."
Yeah, and she was, and she was done, and that's the tricky part, right? Like when you're like, I think I want another one, and she's like, I don't know if I can, and then you just kind of sit and think about it, like, like I'm happy with my 4, what I mean, and I think I'm okay to just be done, and like I don't intend to, find another younger wife in the future that wants to have kids, right? So for me, it's just like, this is probably what's best for us, for her. And if it takes 20 minutes and a few days of being sore, then that's something I can live with and and I'm willing to do, because it's not as big of a sacrifice as what females got to do, you know. So yeah, am I nervous? Yeah, it just feels weird, right? Like,
Oh,
it's just like,
yeah.
all right, here are my balls. Do
What
what
if
you
they
got to
cut the
do.
wrong cable? They're like, there's red or green.
Yeah. Yeah, then we got an explosion, and my biggest worry was always like, man, what if it don't work anymore, right? Like, what if it don't work? But like,
Trust
There's
me,
always a risk.
It works.
There's always
Yeah.
a risk.
It
Yeah.
works.
that was always my biggest thing. But at the end of the day, it's just like, it's cool.
I was over here like, please let it go down a little bit. No, it still works.
Yeah, and honestly, that's what everybody has told me. It's just like, yeah, it's still good. So I'm just like, cool. Like, as long as I can still, perform. And it's funny because we, as men, we say, as long as we can perform, and like women are like, you ain't performing. You know what I mean? Like, that's a performance. Okay, whatever. It's like, hey, I just need my 30 seconds of glory, right? Like,
Oh man.
but yeah, no, I think for men, at least for me, it was like, and I think maybe you and I are different, right? Like, but for me, it's just like, just the fear, and to be able to say like, yeah, I'm a little scared. You know what I mean? That's a little bit hard
it's
to.
it's
Bro,
still
I'm scared for you, man.
it's still a procedure, at the end of the day, and yeah, it's scary, but
Yeah, it's like colonoscopies,
you'll be all right.
right? Like when I went and I was like, hey, do I need to take one? Do I need to do one? You know what I mean? And the guy's like, oh, you're a little young. But I think I'm still going to do one younger anyways, because,
Well, they're catching them
yeah.
younger and younger now, so.
Yeah, because I don't want to be the dude that figures out that at 45, get my first colonoscopy and shit's already escalated.
advanced, yeah.
So I just want to, all these things that, whether it's a male thing or a cultural thing, it's just like, I just got to take care of it, and I got to go in and do it because, and again, I'm coming from a perspective of, damn, I lost my mom 2 months ago. I lost my sister, my dad. Like, I don't want to have my kids have to go through this emotional shit that I'm going through and trying to figure out younger than they need to, just because I didn't, do the little things when I should have, or before I should have, So I'm excited for my weekly colonoscopies. It's going to be a good time. You can never be too safe. You can never be too safe.
Wait, but how did the nut snipping do with health? That has nothing to do with health. That means.
Well, I think it's my lady's health.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I think that has more to do with just kind of putting her health first, and I mean, yeah, just to not have to have her worry about getting pregnant, not have to take, the pill or find other ways to do it, or it could just be like, hey, I got you, and she can just focus on, because even for women, as they start turning the corner to 40 and older, they have things that they're going to have to, take care of themselves. And I mean, she's been having to do periods, like all these different things that they got to go through. So if it's just a quick snip for me and a few days of being sore and not being able to, I think they said 2 weeks without sex. That's a long time.
I don't remember if it was 2 weeks.
Really? I hope not. Like, that's...
For sure you're going to be out of commish for at least 3 days because you're going to be sore.
That's a long time still.
But I don't think you're going to want to do anything anyways.
Maybe. Like, after
Watch they cut the cable and it cuts the sex drive.
No, man.
That's not how it works. Stop trying to scare him.
I'm scared for him.
Unless your job was like a, strenuous, like you're always walking around, standing up all the time, then I would say don't go to work, right?
Yeah.
But your job is chill. Like you could just be sitting on the couch. You could still take calls, whatever.
Yeah.
But like
I better get well balloons. All right, I'm just saying. Like, I better be.
Don't go to soccer practice and risk getting a ball to the nuts.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Oh yeah.
Well, really after I want to try to do it after, because there's a good 1.5 month, 2 month break, from soccer.
When does menopause happen?
That's the crazy part about women is like you can start perimenopause in your mid to late 30s, and then menopause happens somewhere between like your 40s and 50s. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like we have to go through all kinds of BS. And that's what I'm saying. Like you got to be willing to to do something.
Till what age can you still do it? I really want to ask an old person.
What
but,
you mean?
What you mean do it?
Like,
Have sex.
I'm gonna be doing it on my last day in my 80s.
well, yeah,
I'm
well,
gonna
the thing is, does it work at the 80s?
figure it
Or?
out.
Sick.
Figure
I
it
mean,
out.
look at Hugh Hefner. He was still pumping them out.
Fair enough. Damn.
What was he pumping out?
Not babies, but, you know.
Te la vas a gastar, güey.
I mean, if I
Yes.
gotta get hip replacements, like whatever I
Oh,
gotta do,
God.
just
Oh,
give
te
me
la hubieras
the.
gastado,
God.
pa, until he's 80.
Gross.
Yeah. No, I think, and I'm sure it drives my wife crazy, but like the sex drive is just like, it's like it's Mamba, Black Mamba, like Kobe style when it.
Pobrecita,
so-
pobrecita. I'm sorry, Quincy.
Like, yeah, it's just, yeah. And I mean, I think she's just beautiful. So all she's got to do is sneeze.
So you're also like Michael, like,
Did you just, damn, girl, you sneezing like that? I know what that means, right?
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
But no, I don't know if that's a man thing. But it sounds like there's men that just have no sex drive, which is wild to me.
That
You
is
know.
wild.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are men like that, but few and far between, I'd say.
Do women with super high sex drives exist?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not going to tell the story. Anyway.
Why don't you want to tell the story? You gonna get in trouble?
No.
John always gets quiet, huh? When
I know.
there's sex talk.
That's because
And
I think. I just reminisce.
Oh,
oh shit. Oh shit.
but I think it's different when you're young too. Like your hormones are coming in, and like it's very different. And then like I think your 20s and 30s are, at least personally, I feel like you're mellowed out. And then según that in your 40s and 50s, that's when it's like it comes back again or something. I don't know.
Come back like Jordan after his retirement, man. Just winning championships.
I don't know.
No, and honestly, that's another thing too. That's just like, if I get a vasectomy, it allows my wife to, everything in it. I mean, and I'm not saying this is what like
It's
pushed it
making
over
you-
the edge, but it's like, oh, it increases maybe the female's libido. It's just like, all right, yeah, chop it off.
I told him, I said, don't put all your eggs in that basket because
You have a lot of high hopes for the surgery, huh?
Oh, it's not that. It's just like, I mean, at the end of the day, over the long run, like, I think it's going to be better for my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's better for her, it's better for us. And if there's benefits to it, great. But I think the biggest benefit I'm focused on is just having her not have to worry about the pill or everything else, and then just be able to just kind of balance her hormones so they're natural again. And it might take 3 to 6 months,
Yep.
but until then, like, yeah, it's just, this is what we got to do. And
The doctor's like, results may vary.
yeah.
I mean, it's
The guy's
¿Qué?
white.
¿Es negro?
The guy's white.
no. I'm saying like, but if she got the procedure done, like it's
Well,
happened before
You can
where
get
they
them burned, right? If you get them burned, you can't.
some will still grow.
Really? Yeah. Well, it's because the human body is a
Yeah.
crazy organism.
So that's what there are women now that are opting to just take out their tubes.
Oh god damn.
Like they still leave the ovaries, but you take out the tubes all completely. But that's another thing that is like, against women. Like there's a lot of doctors that they won't perform that surgery unless they'll ask you, well, how many kids do you have? Well, you might change your mind.
It's none of your business.
What does your husband say? What does your partner say?
Yeah.
Like there's always this like, well, no, because you might want to have kids. And there's a lot of people now that are choosing not to, and they're wanting to get these procedures done, and they're getting told no, even though that is their choice. Like they don't want to get pregnant ever,
Yeah.
and
I feel like
they can't get it. But a dude can go in there, and they're like, I'm not sure if they did ask Michael. But he didn't make it a big deal. He was just like, all right,
Yeah.
because that's reversible, right?
What is?
The snipping
Yeah.
for both females.
I think on The Office,
snap,
Michael
snap,
Scott.
snap, snap.
Yeah. Michael Scott had it reversed and unreversed.
Sorry, I've never seen The Office.
What? Damn, bro.
I did have a boss that he loved The Office, so I'd pretend like, oh yeah, it was The Office.
No,
and I knew that I
that's
was so
funny.
into it. But anyways, yeah. I
Yeah,
was
but
gonna
it
say
is
something for,
reversible. If a woman gets her tubes tied versus cut and burned, then obviously like that could be reversed. But again, that's another like crazy surgery. You have to go get back
I remember what I was gonna
under.
say. I feel like now, like, and more like I want to say not my generation, but like the one before me, like the people are starting to have, like start their lives at 30s.
Oh yeah.
So
Well,
like I feel like a lot of people more
here.
yeah. No, I
But
feel
like in
everywhere.
big cities, I feel like a lot of people kind of start having families into their 30s.
Yeah.
Like close to even 40s having their first kid.
God damn.
Yeah. But it's because there's just a lot more going on. And I think we've talked about this in another podcast before where like we live in a small city,
Yeah.
you know, and the cultural vibes here are way different than like in a big city. And so here you're more likely to get married sooner,
Yeah.
start a family sooner, you know, versus where if you live in a big city where it's fast paced and it's a lot more career based, like people are like, oh, I want to work on my career. I want to go to school to these big colleges and universities. And then later than they think about kids.
Yeah.
Here we're like, we ain't got shit to do.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But I will say I do feel like the younger generations are starting later.
Because like, when is it harder for females to be able to have kids? Like, is it in the 30s? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, like, how old were you guys when you had Jacoby?
He was born in 2012, so I was 26,
Okay.
almost 27. My wife was 24, 25.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Te la robastes.
Yeah. I was almost 2 years older than Quincy.
Yeah.
So,
And you were, how old were you?
25.
25. Yeah.
how old's your wife?
25.
25.
We're 3 months apart.
That's cool.
And we
You
were,
still haven't met my wife. Sorry. You
Yeah,
have.
we have.
You have, but he hasn't.
I haven't. Yeah.
we were both 23, almost 24 when we had him.
Yeah.
And then when I had Liam, because they're 5 years apart, I was almost 28, 29. And I remember I went in just for like my yearly checkup and I was like, yeah, so I'm kind of thinking that we do want to get pregnant again or whatever. But I had been on birth control, you know, that whole time. And she's like, well, you know, at your age, it's a lot harder to get pregnant and that. So I'm over here like, oh shit, you know. So I got off birth control. Nah, my Latina genes were like, nah, girl, you gonna get pregnant real quick.
They turned 15 years old real quick.
Like I'm pretty sure I got pregnant like the month that we were like okay, we're gonna get pregnant.
Yeah.
And yeah, we got pregnant.
So I had this debate with my wife one time, right? Like, and it wasn't, and I'm sure the lady's gonna get upset when I say this, but it's just like we got to give credit to the men for that, right? Because it's just like in the NBA, in the NBA, LeBron James gets the MVP, not the basketball hoop. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like you don't see any.
Amen.
You don't
to
see
that.
any. It's just like we're shooting right. You know what I mean? You gotta have accuracy there.
That's why I told my wife, I'm like, you must be pissed that you went 9 months growing our baby just for her to come looking out like me and saying Papa.
Oh,
For real, dude.
Yeah.
For real.
that's crazy.
Hey, speaking of a little bit, did you guys see that crazy ass? There was these 2 young kids that did a race on their sperm. Did you see that?
A race on their sperm?
The fuck are you watching?
What?
I can't remember what they do. I think they gotta be like YouTubers or something.
I hope so.
And these 2 kids, they like put their sperm under the microscope, but they put them through like a little racetrack maze to see who would make it to the end first.
Yeah.
You see it?
No.
How the fuck do you even get
Wild.
one sperm?
Huh?
How do you just get one?
No. It was like obviously their whole thing, and then they like put it in the whatever, and the one won. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that's the race, bro. Like we made
That's
it.
the race.
We won the race that mattered, right? Because the odds of us being here, very rare. You know what I mean? Like what we had to
Yeah.
beat out millions of other little bastards.
We could
trying
have
to
all
beat
gone
us.
spitting now if you guys think about it.
Yeah.
There's just been another stain on the carpet.
Gross.
Whoa! I was like, "What do you?" Whoa! Damn, John.
Gross.
Damn.
But we made it.
He goes from quiet to just dropping bombs like that.
It's because I
man.
take this time to like listen and hear you guys and like
Oh
absorb.
my
You got me
gosh.
blushing, man, on the carpet or on a yeah.
Because think about how many kids you could have, but they're all like smeared. Never going into your bedroom or anywhere you think you do stuff like that. But imagine how many smeared there is everywhere.
You know what?
They're all yelling, Dad, Dad.
Oh, well, have you seen the
No.
Blacklight your room next time.
TikToks of like where it's like, oh, I was gonna share a drink with my friend, and then they go like this, and it goes, Papa.
Oh no.
I remember where her mouth is, Papa.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Oh
Dang,
man.
out of all the times, you only have 4 that made it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Millions and millions and millions of mini Eliases or Quincy's that could have came out. Only 4 made it.
Well, not until they form, right?
Exactly.
You gotta hit the.
But still, like, you know,
But
how
still, like if you're active sexually with your partner, you gotta just think like each
like
time.
those people from, where are they from? Are they from Utah? The 19 kids and counting?
Oh shit! I don't know. Probably.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah.
At that point, your kids are just raising your kids. Like, why the hell?
Well, and you think about it, like I have 4 kids. That means my wife was pregnant for 36 months. That's 3 years of just being pregnant, and then she breastfed probably for what 9 to 12 months. So that's another almost 3 to 4 years of just having a little human attached to your body. Like women go through a lot. So shout out to all you women, and I'm gonna cut my balls off.
Sí.
Ahora sí, dude.
Hay que llevarlo ya.
He's trying to win the votes back of the ladies that he lost.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go right now. He's feeling good. Let's go right now.
My defense is I'm young and I don't know what I'm talking about, so excuse me. But Elias, he's 40. He knows what he's talking about.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
You turned 40 already?
Not till
No,
December.
And the
God
year.
damn.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. That's like, you guys ever put in perspective, like you guys hanging out with me is like me hanging out with Jacoby. That's the
nuts.
same age gap.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Is it really?
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because if you had him at 26 and I'm 26, that means this kid is 13.
He'll be 13 in October.
Yeah, so there's 13 years gap difference between us. It's okay. I've always had older friends.
Yeah. I ain't that old, bro. I ain't that old. So, I'm not that old.
Oh, man.
Well, that was an interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
are you going to go do your little relaxing spiritual thing before you go and get snipped?
Like, what's relaxing?
That's right.
I
you were
got a
supposed
lot
to do a
of-
couple of them, no?
Yeah, what's
What relaxing thing?
Wait,
Okay,
what
first-
time is it? Oh, how much time do we have?
48 minutes?
48.
48. Okay, because I wanted your thing to be a whole different segment. I think it's an interesting conversation.
Like another episode?
Are you
mean?
talking about
Yeah.
the medium?
Yeah.
What
yeah.
are you talking about?
I think
I'm
we
talking
should-
about the Reiki thing and the
Reiki.
chamber thing you were going to
Oh
go
yeah,
in.
yeah.
oh,
Save
yeah.
the medium
so
one for the next one because I'm really into that.
we can
Yeah.
talk about it today. We can figure it out.
Yeah.
It could be. But the Theta Chamber, I'm not going to do till after soccer season because you got to
Oh.
do 28 days in a row.
Uh,
No breaks. The Reiki, I don't know when I'm going to go back to that because that was interesting, but I think it would be good. I got a bunch of sound bowls, which are awesome.
like the ones you go,
Yeah, those are just hit them and listen to the vibrations. And what's cool is each bowl, like it helps with a different like chakra or like a different like, you know, thing with you. So like I would recommend getting into that because like the frequencies and the vibrations that you get from those, like they vibe with you and they help, you know, which is really cool. But
aren't they called like sound baths?
yeah,
Something like that,
yeah.
right?
I got to learn just how to use the little metal thing and make it like, you know, do its thing. But right now I like banging the side of it and just letting it just, yeah, it's good, man. It's good. It's hard to explain, but it does something. And I even got one of those little triangle things, the big ones that just ding and just it's a whole other level. But frequencies affect your body in different ways in different parts of your bodies and they ground you And
you
it's
need to
really
do that
cool.
before your vasectomy.
Yeah,
Get
I think for
grounded,
that
you
it's
know?
just determination, just knowing that like whether I'm nervous or not, it's just something I got to do, and I'm excited for it. But the medium, I went and visited a
It was a
medium.
wild ride.
It was crazy, crazy, because it was one of my agents was like, you should try this because she just lost her dad. And I was like, what? Nah. And even all the way up to that point, I was like, and I got there early, which I'm never early to anything. So I had like
Facts.
I had like a good 10, 15 minutes to like, I was kind of nervous.
Yeah.
But it blew my mind. Like I want to say maybe I'm a believer in it now. Like, or there's something about it that's just like, okay, there's something to this. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah. It's weird. I got emotional. But I feel like I've just been emotional for a while now.
Yeah.
So it's like, but I think I got, the one thing I do feel that I got from that whole experience was closure and peace. Like I can go to my parents' house now and not feel what I was feeling before, and little weird things happened while I was there at my mom's house when I was kind of helping clean up and stuff. Cause I had to, we bought the house and it's time to kind of get it fixed up and rent it out. And, I haven't really been there and spent a lot of time at my mom's house after my dad died. Most of the time it was just us picking her up to come to our house, or she was at my sister's. And, it's just weird to be in the place you grew up in, but also the place where your mom and dad both died in. Cause the stuff that sticks with me for like my mom's was like, when the funeral home came to pick her up, dude, we had to like pick her up and put her on this
The stretcher or
stretcher
whatever.
and then the bag and close it. And like that whole experience, like messed with me. And I always tell people like, it's the first time you see them dead that will mess with you. Like I still remember like my dad. And then like when, my mom passed and my sister, she was in the room and she's just like, I could hear her like scream and like, she's gone, you know what I mean? And I just run over there and then I see her and then it's just like, whoa, My sister's hit me hard because she passed away on the 4th. I got COVID on the 3rd. So I couldn't even be with my family until like the viewing. So I didn't see her until like the day before they buried her, you know what I mean? But I had so much like, pain, so much like all these different thoughts. But after I went to talk to the medium, it was like, huh. You know what I mean? Like they're still around us. Cause like she knew shit that she should have, there was no
Like
way
nobody
for her to know.
nobody called her to like give her all this info or
Yeah. I was just like,
did she look you up?
Well, even if she did look me up, she wouldn't have known the way that my sister talked to me. She wouldn't have known the things that my mom loved. Like, you know what I mean? Like all these different things that, I'm telling you, like wild. Like when she was talking about like my mom, and what's crazy is like she was talking about how like she could feel, because she did ask me like, like I told her that I lost my mom, my dad, and my sister, and like her reaction was like, holy hell, you know what I mean? Like that's a lot, you know. But then to like hear her tell me that like, hey, your sister's, I can feel her, I have to kind of push her back, like she's the most eager to talk to you. Well, for me, it was like, well, that's the person I didn't really get to talk to or spend time with, right? Because with COVID, she was, locked down and stuff. And I felt a very, like, I didn't get to say goodbye or whatever. So to kind of get that there and for her to tell me certain things about my sister and her kids and, like, it just nailed it. And I'm just like, there's no way you would have. How do you know? You know what I mean? We started talking about my mom and she could smell... now, is it lilacs? Like, the flowers? I always mess it up. I thought they were lilacs. But, like, those little bushes that have, like, the purple flowers and stuff that, smell good. All the bees are all in it.
Lavender?
Bush. No. Lilacs?
Lilacs. I don't know.
Lilacs?
There's
Maybe.
But, like, but, dude, like, my mom had those trees. And, like, I just always remember her and my grandma even picking those little flowers and, like, loving those. And, like, so just certain things that she said, I was like, the only way she would know this is if she was able to have conversations with them or feel them. You know what I mean? So it was wild. I recorded the whole thing because like going back to listen to it, I'm just like, whoa. But even when I sat down to talk to her, I felt this overwhelming energy where like, I mean, 5 minutes into it, she's like, oh, you're getting emotional. And I'm just like,
How you know?
yeah, I was like, damn it. Like I am. Cause it was just like,
But you weren't actually like crying.
no, my
It
eyes
was-
were like, yeah, because it was an overwhelming emotional thing because I didn't know what to expect. And I was like kind of nervous and I was like, what am I doing? You know what I mean? Have I gotten this low that I'm over here talking to like a bruja? You know what I mean? Like, what is this stuff? And then, man, as soon as like, she starts talking, I'm just like, whoa, I just kind of felt different. And then like the next time I went over to my parents' house and she's always like, just look for signs. Like they're around you, like they're guiding you. You know what I mean? Like I go and I open my mom's fridge and randomly a tomatillo falls from the freezer that like all her tomatillos are still there. They're usually in a bag, but one just happens to like drop. And in my brain and in my heart, I felt like
Your mom.
she's here. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, and then ever since I have felt a little bit more connected to him where I feel like I kind of had abandonment issues growing up because like my parents would work swing shifts. So for like 2 weeks out of the month, I really didn't see them. You know what I mean? Because if they'd work evenings, my dad would wake me up and I'd go on the school bus. But that's all the interaction I had with them during that time. Because by the time they were off work, I was asleep. My sister, when I was in second grade, she was my student aide and she ran away with her husband. So like just randomly just gone. And then my other sister got married in 5th grade and she was like my mom when she's the one that passed away. She was like my mom for those 2 weeks. So for like 2 weeks, I just felt like I was alone. So as they were dying, I started to feel like I'm alone.
Yeah.
Like where are my people at, And I felt very distant from them. And after that, and it's weird that that's what it took because maybe it could have been something different, but like, yeah, after that, I was just like, whoa, like there's something to what she was doing that for sure she, she knew. Even when she talked about my brother's death, she was like, did he die young? Like, was he like an infant or something? Or like, he just seemed like he died too young. And I'm just like, he was 13. I was like, how do you know this? You know what I mean? And like, I'm telling you, like the tone that she would tell me that my sister called me stubborn, like, cause I was like, I don't dream about her. I don't see her. And she's like, yeah, she's stubborn. It's like, she's trying to reach you, but like, you don't, and I'm just like, damn, like that. She would call me stubborn a lot. And she was, so it's just one of those things where it just kind of gave me the chills. And when I think about it, talk about it, like it took me a couple of days. Cause like Lacey was like, so how was it? Like how, and I was like, I don't really know how to describe it, because like I didn't believe in it at all.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, there's no way. But then she just hit so many key points and so many things where I was just like, the only way for you to know those specific details are if you actually had the ability to talk to them before they died or right now. And
Yeah.
I know for sure she didn't talk to my mom or dad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. It was wild. I'm telling John he should try it.
Yeah, I would be down. But I spoke to the same agent, and then because for us it's like it's a sense of brujeria, right? Like especially for the religion, and I get it. But she mentioned something saying that like there's a lot of people with these talents that use them for good, and then for bad. But same thing for like people that don't do it legitimately, like they do it for the bad. And I was like, wow. And then she told me that this lady's been doing it for 20, 30 years, some of that.
Yeah.
I was like, dang. So if it was like a hoax, like is that what it is? It's called? It probably would have not been that long.
Yeah.
But because I remember back in the day, I remember started my dad telling me that back when like in Mexico, like pesos were like millones, and he said that he paid this bruja like 3 million pesos because he thought that he got like lo embrujaron because he was suffering a lot of like health issues. And he said he paid her, and he's like, yeah, someone's trying to do harm to you. And he said that after that, like, he never had any issues after that.
Yeah.
And I was like, like, that's weird. Like, I need to talk to him about it more to, like, because, like, I don't know. I'm not going to say I don't believe in it. Like, I also was talking to, I don't want to say I don't believe in it because, like, I've never had, like, something big enough to be like, holy shit. Like I do believe that there's something. I do believe people have powers to see things, and that's why I'm like, I'm down to do it. Like, but you know, I don't know.
It's almost we're so human sometimes that we blind ourselves to the ability that maybe there is a veil that covers those who are their energies are still around, and when we lose them, we feel like they're gone or they're in heaven or they're somewhere else. We never think like they might still be around us, and not in a spooky way, right? And I think one of the things that she loved, she's just like, and even I think we've talked about this before, like in human history, like Catholicism wasn't always around. Christianity wasn't always around. There's so many different things, but we felt connected to something higher, and we call it different things, whether it's God, the universe, energy, whatever it is. And I do believe that we can tap into energies if we're open to it. And, one thing she said is like, sometimes what you put in, that's what you get. So like if you think, that it's brujeria or something bad's going to happen and that's your focus, like bad things can happen,
Yeah.
I remember my brother-in-law when he was in high school playing football, he was always so worried about dropping the ball when the ball would get passed and dropping. That was his focus. That was his stress. Well, in one of the
That's
big
all
games,
he kept doing.
yeah, in one of the biggest games, he had a big drop. And it's just like we almost manifest that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, I felt like I would in my brain think they're gone, they're gone, they're gone. So I wouldn't feel them. And now it's so different. Like now it's, I don't know, the last like couple weeks has really like opened my eyes to so many things. The fact that I was able to just be at my mom's house for like 2 full days and just kind of try to clean, and I didn't really clean and ended up making a bigger mess, but I was looking through all the stuff. Like I felt so connected to them, which I hadn't felt that before. I felt like the kid that was like, where's everybody at? You know what I mean? But now I'm just like, they're around me. So it helped me a lot. But I think it just helped me realize that like I didn't really lose them. You know what I mean? So now I just have the ability to, like I said, be at my mom's house. Like it was crazy. I sat down and I ate, and I can't even think of the last time I sat down and ate. Over there, it was usually just, hey, let's come to my house. You know what I mean? Because I always had this, like, I always walk in and I look at the same spot where I saw my dad on the ground for the first time. And it was like, I could still see him there. That was like burned, in my brain. But now it feels different. I feel like a little bit more peace. Like I didn't have a drinking problem. I would drink, but like, I just decided like, I'm going to stop drinking. I don't want to drink anymore. Like my dad quit drinking when my brother died. I might have been, what's the word? 420 friendly, you know what I mean? And like, I quit that, you know what I mean? And it's not that I think it was a problem, or at least I didn't, you know what I mean? But like, for me, I felt like after that time and after the experiences over the last couple of weeks, like, how do I want to be? What things do I want to do? You know what I mean? How do I want to live my life? And knowing that like they're around me, like I don't want to have to cope with different things to like, take the pain away. Now it's just like, hey, maybe I can start healing now. You know what I mean? And I think for me that was big, because it is when you start losing like family, you lose one family member, it hurts. But I just felt like mine were just stacked right on top of another. And I tell people, it was like 2015 when my dad got diagnosed, so I was expecting him to die soon. And I've been in that mode in my brain where I'm always expecting to lose someone, and then to lose someone unexpectedly, it just put me in this place where I just wasn't healthy. I wasn't okay. Like, I think I was depressed. I tell Quince, like, there were so many days where I just didn't want to get out of bed. Like, my reality of like, fuck, work, this, all these people are going to call me, and damn, like my dad's dead, my sister's dead. Like I don't want to get out of bed for this. Like this sucks, you know what I mean? And I would just be stuck. And so to kind of like feel like I'm breaking out of that is a good feeling, but it took something that made me uncomfortable that I thought was bullshit, that I didn't believe in, to kind of like make me realize like, because I've been Reiki, therapy, all this shit that I've been doing, and I've still been kind of like stuck there. But I think it just took something different that I didn't expect to like make me feel like, hey, I'm gonna be all right. You know what I mean? And that was huge for me, because now I feel it feels different every day. You know what I mean? Like I wake up and it's, what am I grateful for? You know what I mean? Versus like, damn, you know? So, I mean, I'm glad I went because I wasn't going to go, but I'm just like, I need all the things, you know what I mean? A witch doctor was my next one, right? Or something like that. But just to have it just change was crazy. So do y'all believe in that? Like,
I do. I believe in it. But and I think like like yeah, maybe like if you're like fully into religion and maybe just any religion, right? But like we're Catholic, so I'm gonna say Catholic. Like yeah, they say, oh no, que eso no. I don't know that they don't believe in it, sino que they see it as like the bad energy,
yeah,
right? But I do agree that like there are people that have these gifts that use it for bad, and then there's people that use it for good.
yeah,
I wouldn't say that I've been to a median, but hay un viejito in Blackfoot que soba. Like, I mean, a sobador is kind of like a chiropractor in a way, right? Like, that's how you would say it. And, yeah, like my back was hurting a ton because after when I had my epidural, like that one did mess me up quite a bit, like my back and stuff. So I was always having like back issues, and my mom was like, oh, va a ir el señor a la casa de tu tía, si quieren ir, pa que se soben. So like I went, Michael went, I can't remember if my sister went. And while he was like working on me, he was saying some stuff, and I was like saying things about like my day to day, kind of like how I've been feeling, things that like I didn't talk to this man, you know what I mean? Like I don't think that he spoke to my aunt about us or anything. It's just like, and we were just like in the living room or whatever, and he's just like saying things that I'm just like it started resonating with me because they were about me, and I'm like, okay, you know. And I mean, I felt good. I didn't feel like weird or like this negative energy. Or I mean, like it almost made me feel emotional.
yeah,
You know. So I mean, I believe in it.
yeah,
I think my dad one time went to a lady in Nayarit, and she was more like, okay, I need you to bring me una gallina viva.
Oh shit.
And
Yeah.
but she also said like there's people that are like giving all this bad energy to you and want bad things for you. So le hizo como una limpia que sabe que or whatever. And I was like, I was younger then, but I mean, I believe in it. I think it's real.
I don't believe in like the limpias and like tele en las cartas and like do you use like a red string, like a red bracelet? Like I don't believe in that shit. Like, but I do believe like what like you were, you know, but also like consciously know like you're still putting your faith in a human being. Same thing as you were in like the church. You're putting your faith in someone. So like I don't know. I think it's more like curiosity.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the same thing, just trying to look, like fill that void. But I don't know. Yeah. I don't know because I would have to have the same experience as you did in order for me to be like, oh shit, I believe it.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I want to believe it, that is real, but I don't know.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Like, and I got to pull this out here. But like, I got a little cross on me now, but I told my, wife that like that whole experience just made me want to start going to church, like go find a church to go to on Saturdays, just because I want to feel grounded in, because I don't think I'm human. That might sound totally stupid, but I don't think I'm human. But I think there's an importance, which is what the sound bowls do, but just being able to ground myself in my earthly body to feel like I have a foundation, and I want to be able to start like focusing on religion again in a way where it grounds me, not because I, fully agree and believe in everything about it, but I think there's something grounding about that religion, that peace, the praying, whether you pray to whoever, you're still manifesting and putting it out in the universe. So that's one thing that I just want to, I'm telling you, like last few weeks just completely just opened my mind and heart, and I feel like it's allowed me to heal instead of being in this constant like fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know, it feels good. I'm just excited to see where it goes. But and I mean it led a lot of crazy shit, but it was one of these days we'll have to talk about it. And I'd almost want to bring one. Like, how cool would it be to have a medium come to our show? I could ask her if she'd be open to it.
The camera start glitching.
Would that freak you guys out?
No,
No?
I don't think
Yeah.
it would freak me out.
So maybe I'll ask her if she'd be willing to come, because I think that would be something that would be absolutely wild and different. So,
Yeah.
but cool. Well, we went an hour and 10 minutes today. So those were good conversations, though. That was
Yeah.
fun. So I'm excited.
How do you spell medium? Like medium in like medium shirt or medium?
I think it's the same. No?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Just
think
saying.
so.
Just have to make sure for the title.
Yeah.
Medium. He's like, this fool spelled it as a shirt, not a.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. So, but cool. Well, thank you guys for watching. Comment below on anything that we talked about.
Yeah.
We're curious about your thoughts. We want more feedback and engagement from our listener. Listener. Right?
Listeners.
So listeners.
Hi,
Three.
Rod and Bianca.
Yeah. What's up, guys? Appreciate you. So,
See you guys.
yep.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. Take care.
Give it to me.